the talking point from a lot of pro-gun rights activists is, if you outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns. I think good law-abiding citizens that want to protect themselves should have the right to have that. But at the same time, we need to make it harder for outlaws not to get them.
We're not anti-gun at
all.
We're
not anti-gun. I mean, I have guns in this house that we're in right now. It makes me feel I can sleep well at night having that. But at the same time, the way that gun laws are right now makes me extremely uneasy. And I think it makes a lot of people uneasy. And I think there's some very common sense gun laws that need to be put in place that I think most people agree with, even conservative people.
Yeah.
And nothing is being done about it.
A good guy with a gun can stop a bad guy with a gun. And so, which means it's a great phrase to use, but we have to do everything we can to make sure that a bad guy doesn't end up with a gun.
This is an all-ray country, granddaddy's gun.
Keep that pistol in the drawer.
And I'll be up all night, still cleaning this gun.
Then people are constantly saying, well, you'll be Dixie Chick, which I think is really funny that it has turned into a verb. And I mean, I love the Dixie Chicks. Yeah, you can Dixie Chick us anytime you want. I think they're awesome. But that's just who we are. We're gonna say what we think, whether you like it or not, whether it's detrimental to our careers, we don't care. I mean, the right to own a gun is very important. It's literally the Second Amendment. That's how important it is. But the only amendment that beats that is the First Amendment, our right to speak.
Probably hurt us more than help us, and that's how passionate I am about it. That's how much I think change needs to happen, that I'm willing to sacrifice fans for that. I'm willing to sacrifice money for that.
We grew up in a small town, and which involved beer, trucks, girls, and guns. And that's fine, that's great, but you can't look at country music and go, well, that's all it's about. That's just one sliver of it. There's so much more to it than that. There's a line somewhere, and it's constantly moving, and we have to find out where that line is, and we can't let trigger words like universal background check scare us, because it's not scary. No one's taking anything away. We're just trying to keep people safe. Personally, I don't think AR-15s are necessary to have, right? We don't need them. They're not great for hunting. If we spend no time talking about mental health and we pump a bunch of time and money into protecting guns, that's just a recipe for disaster. So I think those two things alone can really solidify the line that where I believe it needs to be and keep all of us as safe as possible. We are the United States, and we've never been more divided. I don't think we can get to a place of any constructive conversation, or we can't get to a place of common sense gun reform if we can't even literally talk about it.
I think a lot of country performers have really prided themselves on being pretty outspoken and being very honest people and speaking ultimately for the little guy. And I think that's something that we still try to do, even though sometimes we have a difference of opinion.
The most American thing you can ever do is speak your mind proudly.